right. Testing, testing, testing. Say something, we.
Hey, it's we.
All right.
Does that sound okay?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Let me turn on my
All right.
recorder. So I'm not so ghetto. Got the chat.
How come I can't see your face, Terry? What's up with that?
Yeah, you'll have to watch the Twitch if you want to see my face.
Oh, God.
It's exclusive
Twitch.
access.
Is it? Only on Twitch. Chris, can I have a baby yet or what?
Oh, dude.
I need to congratulate this guy.
It's anytime. Literally anytime.
Oh my God. You're gonna catch up to him eventually, Darren. I know it.
Yep.
5 kids. You're gonna do 5.
Okay, well, welcome everybody to CanHammer Podcast, episode 152. This is your source for Sigmar from the Great White North tonight. And with me tonight, I have special guest. Well, is it that special anymore? You're on here a lot.
Well, I would say that it's special because when I come, you know that you're going to get the best damn agency mark coverage on the internet. So it's special.
I guess that's pretty special, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as you may have figured out, my guest is Hui Trong from WeCon Wargaming.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right.
That shows the shirt. You're not quite
on
YouTube. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Move your camera
right there.
There you go.
All right, is that better? Okay.
All right, there you go. So check them out on YouTube, WeCon Wargaming. Exclusive Age of Sigmar content from possibly one of the most famous Sigmar players from Canada. Would you say that's fair?
I mean, it's more than fair because who else can you name that's an Age of Sigmar player from Canada? Definitely not Chris Haynes. That guy don't play nothing.
Olivier, he was at LVO, came in second.
Olivier, I mean, he's pretty good. And Jeff Painter also. These guys are great Canadians, but still, they're definitely good guys. I talked to them, yeah. But so I'm going to hold on to that mantle until someone wrestles it away from me. Yeah. That's how you settle things. That's how you settle things in Sigmar. You got to wrestle to the ground. It's a feat of strength.
Yeah.
Just like Festivus.
Either that or win the priority roll. One or the other.
That's right. That's right. You get double turn in life.
Yeah. So. Well, welcome Hui to the podcast once again. You're kind of like our AOS correspondent. And so thanks for coming on again. Before we go any further, I want to thank all our sponsors. We got Dylan at Multizone, Martin at Dyson Decks. We have Dan down at Sequence Comics, Hoyt up at Thunder Games and Gifts, and Dave at Tista Minis. We have a brand new channel sponsor, and that is Ben at grimdarkgames.ca. Check him out. Ben is also the painter for Happy Wargaming Painting Studios, who is now the official paint studio for CanHammer. Mostly me, but CanHammer as well. Well, you know, Sparks played my Drukhari army, which was painted by Ben, so I guess that counts. So do check it out, and you will be seeing more of Ben's work on the channel very soon. So it's great working with Ben. And thanks to all our patrons, past, present, and future. Without you, a lot of this would not be able to happen, and my Skype would probably be crashing right now, and we'd have to abandon the Twitch stream. And so all that is in the past now that I have a new rig, and it is actually quite a revelation. I might even have to download Warcraft.
Oh, high tech, man.
No. So tonight we're going to cover the Flesheater Courts Battle Tome and the Skaven Battle Tome, which were literally just released on the weekend. Have you had a chance to play with it yet, Hui? Or
I have not had a chance to play with it yet, but
right.
I've had a lot of list crafting, which is kind of like playing.
Yeah. So you're obviously a big Skaven player. And my first army in Sigmar was Flesheater Courts, and it's great to make the return. It was great to play on Monday night with the old ghouls and horrors again. So that was really nice. And I think both these books were a little bit unexpected, but welcome. And man, did they cram a lot into that Skaven book.
Oh, buddy, Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot to go over. So. Yeah. Forgive me if I miss out on a whole bunch of things. I'm still trying to get my bearings on this list, but anyways, yeah. Please go on.
Yeah. So before we do that, did you go to LVO, Hui?
Did I ever? I did.
Yeah,
I went with.
So tell us about your LVO, man.
Yeah, so I participated in. I brought this time with me Joe Duca and Rahul Barrera of Dream Tea and the Conquest Gaming Group out in Toronto. We all played the Age of Sigmar Championship. So this is the biggest, one of the biggest Age of Sigmar events in North America, at least as far as I know. This year it was at 129 participants. So I think there was like 160 or so at one point in time, and then you have some drop offs. But we settled in around 129 players, which is I believe over 30% growth rate from last year. So year over year, Age of Sigmar is growing bigger and bigger. I mean, it's certainly not 40K levels, but it's one step at a time. But it was definitely a very great atmosphere, great tournament, and a lot of fun. A lot of fun games, a lot of good players, and it's good to see the list diversity out there, right? So, yeah, the Age of Sigmar results were the top 8 were nowhere near as uniform as 40K. I mean, I don't know that much about it, but I just understand that 40K had a little bit of same type of thing that plays in the top 8. A little bit of that,
Yeah, Sigmar certainly seems a lot wider open.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the big thing about it was Bill Souza. He placed first, right? So he got first with Flesheater quartz pre-book. That's pretty good, right?
Ghoul King Bill is his official.
Yeah, Ghoul Patrol, I think, right?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So he was able to surprise a lot of people with being able to play that well, and so
shouldn't be surprised. I mean, he won Michigan GT and another GT, so people should have seen. And it was almost exactly the same list, so people should have seen it coming.
Nope. Yeah, I mean maybe, but like it was definitely I would say it's a heck of an experience going out to LVO. Definitely if you're in 40K, it's like it's massive, it's absurd. But for Age of Sigmar, it's also quite large and very well run, I'd say too. A lot of very enthusiastic players, and not a lot of salt around. So that was the vibe I get. It's a lot more kind of happy. It's a pretty happy group. Let's say
Yeah.
we're all playing Age of Sigmar, so we're all very happy to play. And you're playing hard, but like at the end of the day, you shake hands and everyone more or less feels pretty good about it. So
the guys on Rob at Honest Wargaming, they were lamenting the coverage of Sigmar. Obviously, it's the smaller sister of 40K for the LVO. But considering they had GW and everybody there, they thought they could have done a little bit better on the Sigmar side and to push the Sigmar a little bit. But it's hard when you got like 800 people playing 40K next door.
Well, Rob's just gonna have to tune in into Week on Wargaming on YouTube for LBO coverage to follow. So if he wants the most comprehensive Age of Sigmar video coverage, gotta come to me. So,
I'm getting Rob to come to Capital City, man, and maybe you guys can do some collabs at Capital City.
But you're getting him to freaking comment on 40K, man, when his heart is in Sigmar.
It's not being decided, man. It's not being decided.
Oh no,
he's got the ability to do multiple games. Yeah, you've seen his coverage in in Australia. Like he's covering multiple tables and multiple games, so could be a thing.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but so personally speaking, I think Joe, myself, Rahul, we all did fantastic at the LVO in terms of results. Like Joe, he did 3 and 2, which was good for 35th, I want to say, out of 129. I went 4 and 1, which was good for 18th overall.
Awesome.
And Rahul, he did even better. He also went 4 and 1, but he got more secondaries than me, and so he was able to get 11th or 12th, I want to say, overall.
What was what was he playing?
Running Brass Stampede. So Brass Stampede is like a buttload of like skull crushers, right? So it's a great Brass Stampede, and it's a grind. It's got board presence. It does mortar wounds. It summons. It's great, but it's an army that takes patience, right, and tactics to win.
Yeah.
And he piloted it fantastic. So more power to him.
Were they,
but go ahead.
Were they doing like realm spells and realm rules and those weird secondary things? All that.
All of it's on the table. So realm spells, realm effects, everything realm is in. Hidden objectives was in. That's I missed one hidden objective, which is what caused the big difference between me and Rahul. But I mean, all of that stuff was in. No one had a problem with it. I think basically the community has more or less accepted all of those things. So it's like some of the realm spells, they're so good. Some of them are so good, but you live with it. You only got one use of it a turn, so whatever. It's not a big deal. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We've not been playing that around here, but we really probably should start.
Yeah. Like at some point you just gotta like, you gotta put on your big boy pants and like move on and like play the full game. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah, it's true.
if that's part of the game, then like play it, you know?
The
like,
missions
whatever.
just like as stock missions start to become a bit boring after you've played them
Mm-hmm.
like 10 times.
Yeah, like basically every level of like complexity you add, like you're adding that much more, like to the exponential factor of complexity, right? So if it's variability, it makes a big difference. So you play the same mission, same table, different realm, changes the dynamics altogether, right? So
Yeah.
and it makes it there's a kind of like a ramp, I think, where you have to start becoming comfortable. So first you start, okay, realm effects, and then you do that, run that for a little while, and then say, okay, now we're going to start using some limited spells. Let's say, you can ramp into it, but yeah, I think at some point you got to like take it all in, right? Like play the game fully, right? So.
And what did you bring? You bring rats or?
No, I decided that I was already well placed to take my Skaven Pestilence top ITC trophy home. So I said, I'm going to go with my Host of Slanesh army, pre-book, and wreck some people with Archaon and a Mammoth and, some Hellstriders. So that's what I was doing.
Nice.
It's a ridiculous list, Darren. It's a ridiculous list. It's completely absurd. I'll tell you this, right? The summoning of Slanesh is just so insane. Like I went to LVO. I have a Keeper Secrets in my list, like a regular Keeper Secrets, right, that I pay for. But I brought with me in tow no less than 4 Keepers of Secrets with the full expectation that I can summon all 4 and still have the one I brought all on the table at the same time.
Wow.
It's like that is like the extent that which Slanesh can summon. That takes a lot of summoning, to be honest, but it's doable. And I legitimately planned for that. So like, that's how good the summoning is for Slanesh, right? So
when they get a book, it's going to be gross.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so. I'm getting in before the curve, though, Darren. You know what I'm saying? I'm the hipster Age of Sigmar player.
You're not a bandwagoner.
No, man, I create the bandwagon. I create the wagon. Everyone else can jump in afterwards. It's fine, but I was here first. I got all those ITC points right up front. You know what I'm saying?
So did you end up winning for Skaven?
Yes, for the season. Yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you.
You are the Rat Master.
I am the Rat Master. Now it's going to be a lot harder to be the Rat Master though, because it's going to be popular. It's going to be a popular list for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. What are you up to hobby-wise these days? Any time for hobby?
Unfortunately, I'm moving, so not too much time to hobby. But I've just been trying to get all the summoning stuff even more ready for Slanesh. So Daemonettes, Seekers, things like that. You got to round out the. You have your level 1 things that you need. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely need harps. Definitely need Keepers of Secrets. After that, it's like, okay, maybe I'll get some Daemonettes built and painted and stuff like that. So it's been more my kind of speed, but it's ready, and I'm ready to go to Adepticon. You'll be there, right? Adepticon?
That's right.
And you're going to be playing Age of Sigmar, right? So I'll see you there. And
not singles, just the doubles. But
okay, fine. That's fine. You'll be there.
You're playing doubles, right? Are you playing doubles?
Doubles and singles, yeah. That's
Who are you doubling with? John Green?
Oh no, I want to win, so I'm playing with John. John Green's he's a hobbyist first, He likes to paint, have the stuff fully painted beautifully and stuff like that. I need to win. I'm not going to Adepticon to be nice. No, but I'm going with Joe Duca. So nice. we're doing a Stormcast Slanesh thing again, so it's fine.
Oh, gross.
Is it gross? It's fine.
It's pretty gross, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be all right. It'll be fine. I just need to know what you're bringing. Who are you teaming up with? Don't tell me.
I'm teaming up with Chris, yeah.
Oh my God.
And we are bringing our secret army. Nobody knows what it is other than the person painting it. So it's a secret.
Listen
and when it is birthed upon the world, it's going to cause wounds. Even worse than Slanesh's birth.
I have this saying that like one of the guys that we play with regularly, like I don't know what happens, right? But like he shows up with a different army every single tournament, like every other month. He has like a different army. So he talks to me online. He's like, "I'm gonna mess you up, man. Like I'm gonna take you out. You won't even know what to do against me." I was like, I fear no man that's never played his own army more than twice. You know what I'm saying? Like, you won't even know what you're doing with your army. Yeah. Let alone, why should I be worried?
I could totally do that. I got like 5 armies, so it's like...
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not gonna be afraid of you, Darren, because how many reps you got in with that army? Probably 0.
Some of the Death and the Flesheaters I've played a lot. The other ones I have not.
Also, are you saying your secret army is Death and Flesheaters?
No.
You're not saying that? Okay, but then if it's not, then how much experience you got with that secret army?
I don't need experience. I'm just pro. Just pro.
Oh, I see.
I got a book. I can look shit up.
This is Chris rubbing off on you. Learn everything on the car ride to Adepticon, and then like fingers crossed, win it all.
Yeah, I'm also going to play 40K singles. So
yeah, that's gonna be a problem, man. Juggling the 2 game systems in your head. I'm not that smart. I can only do one.
I don't need to juggle Sigmar. It's just there. It's just
there. Is that right? Yeah. Darren, you're killing it. Yeah, no, Adepticon, we're just all getting ready to go on Adepticon. We've got a big bus. I think 6 or 7 of us are renting a people mover, so we're jamming in a truck and then booting it to Schaumburg.
Nice. Welcome, Durbommel. He says, we've hit 500 followers apparently, which is awesome. Thank you very much. I got to credit most of that to Charity Hammer. We gained like 300 in like 4 hours, but yeah, it's great to have people love you. But okay, well, you know what I think we'll do right now is we will get on into it. So what's gonna happen is I'm more Flesheaters guy, and Hui obviously is the Rat King, and so we're going to kind of, each one of us will lead our own books, but we'll chime in with the other person. And there's lots of really good full tome reviews online and on YouTube and on Podcast Land. I highly recommend Facehammer, for example. They do a great run through of both books. We hope to provide a more synthesized look at some of the highlights of the book for us. So if we were to talk about both books page by page, we would literally be here till none of us want to be here anymore. I can also recommend
all day, Darren.
Yeah, it's crazy. Honest Wargamers overview. I can highly recommend Richie and Ian from Just Saying podcast. They do a great synthesized, competitively based overview of both books. Actually, they haven't done a Skaven one yet, as far as I know, just Flesheater ones. And there's so many places online to get this information. So you definitely don't need us talking at you for 5 hours. So which one do you want to do first, Ree? I leave it up to you as the guest.
Why don't we start with Flesheaters?
Okay.
Age before beauty, that's what they say.
And for the people who are watching tonight live, we will be giving away a copy of the Skaven Battle Tome at the end of the show. Shrink wrapped, brand new, just arrived. This is for giving away from Hoyt up at Thunder Games and Gifts. There will be a skill testing question at the end of the show, courtesy of the Rat King himself, and the person who answers the skill testing question correctly will win a free copy delivered to your door of the Skaven Battle Tome. So stay tuned for the end of the show for that. Last time was funny. I had to have a guest remind me to do the giveaway.
Oh, no.
All right, we're going to cover the Flesheaters courts. Now, if you're a Flesheater player from before, you know that the army was a little bit lacking. Things were expensive. There were some synergies, but not a lot. Hey, Snoop, welcome. We all obviously were missing all the pages and pages of relics and lores and all that business. We were definitely not a spellcasting army. At most, Mystic Shield or Unholy Vitality, and that was that. Our summoning was okay. Battalions were expensive and had a lot of tax, didn't do very much. Anyway, it wasn't a super great book, and it's really to Bill's credit that he could win using Monster Mash, just stacking dragons, which actually is a theme throughout a lot of different armies in Sigmar recently, is running a lot of the big stuff and doing pretty well. So this new book really doesn't change a lot of the actual War Scrolls. In fact, there's very few changes to the War Scrolls, but what it does do is flesh out some of the things that we needed fleshing out. And it's a pretty small book, it's pretty skinny. It's like half the size of the Skaven book. but there's a decent amount of stuff in there. It certainly puts us. I don't think we're a top tier army now, but I think we are 1.5 to tier 2. And if played in the really good hands, like Bill's hands, probably competing for the top. It certainly didn't make us any worse. It only got us better in a lot of ways. So it didn't make us any worse. There was almost no nerfs except for Flayers got more expensive. I actually liken the book to the Custodes of AOS. It's kind of elite. Lots of things are kind of expensive. The only difference is they don't last very long.
Damn.
But
I don't know how I feel about that comparison, Darren.
Well, when I'm making the list, I'm like, God, I can't fit this in or this in or this in. It feels exactly like it feels when I'm making a Custodes list. I'm like, I want this stuff, I want this, I want this stuff. But anyway, that's probably a bad comparison. So in terms of and Flesheater Courts is an army that has very few models. We have literally 4 boxes of models. The king and all its guises is basically 1 box. Well, now we have the Archregent, so 5 boxes. Archregent's not even a box by itself. You have to buy the big box. Then we have ghouls, and then we have flayers and horrors in 1 box. All the courtiers are made from the flayers and horrors and ghouls. So literally, it's an army of 5 boxes, which makes it cheap to start and collect, especially if you buy the carry-on book that gives you like half an army, basically.
Everything that you need.
Yeah. But there is lack of flexibility when you have less models. So basically what they changed is they basically now have all the kings are abhorrents, all the horrors and flayers are your knights, and all your duders, your ghouls are serfs. And so those keywords run throughout the book. The only war scroll they really significantly changed, I think the zombie dragon spell changed. It's now a reroll wound aura, a 16-inch reroll wound aura, which is pretty sweet. And they changed the flayers. The shriek, which used to be like D6 plus 1, and the difference on bravery does mortals, which was pretty bad. Like literally doing nothing most of the time. Now it's maybe marginally better. You roll 2d6, and if you're outside of 3 inches, there's -2 to that roll, so that kind of sucks. And you do the difference in mortals. So somebody's worked it out at 6 or 7 bravery. You're doing like 2 mortal wounds per 3 flayers, which is still not good. But they're 170 points.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah.
Good thing they're all free, right, Darren? Because you just summon them all up. And
well,
you're
that's
fine.
the thing. So in this army, now you got to be pretty compelled to pay points for horrors and flayers.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to give a good reason why you're spending points on that and not just bringing them in for free. Sure, you can't bring in a 6, 9, 12-man unit, but you're paying crazy points if you want to bring a 12-man unit of flayers or horrors. Yeah, like you wouldn't. Like, why not just get it for free? No. And especially since now the throne, the new charnel throne thing allows the kings, not mountain kings, but the other kings to summon for free, no CP, then why? Why would you pay points for those guys? Like, it's extortion.
It's ridiculous.
What do you think of, before we talk too much more about the book, what do you think of the new scenery, the Gnarlholes and the throne? Every book is getting their scenery now. That seems to be a thing. Confirmed.
I mean, it's mandatory, right? Like, I mean, at least for the Skaven side, completely mandatory. I think they're really cool. For at least, I'm only speaking of Skaven. I could care less for Undead Bretonia over here, so. But the throne is cool too, I suppose. But not knowing what it really does. But the Gnarlholes are ace. Super good, super useful. And if I could pay points for it, I would. I mean, if I had, I would. But getting them for free, it's an auto buy. Or it's an auto purchase when you buy stuff. So you can't not have this.
What do you think of the model?
The model itself, it's okay.
They're pretty big. I mean, you got some, Hui? Like, they're pretty big.
Yeah, they are big. Yeah,
they're like a knight base. Big. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more tucked in. More like maybe the footprint of a Makrasha or something.
Yeah.
That circle, that size of a circle. I think it's 60 inches. Is that what?
But then they got those wood bits that stick out like an extra inch.
Well, they stick up though, right? So they don't increase the footprint. The wood bits.
Well, they stick sideways, but yeah. If you measure from the side, if you measure from the side of the rock, it's better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think basically people just do the rock. But maybe people do the wood, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think people do that. But yeah, so I think about normally the footprint is like the rock part, right? So
I gotta say,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
I like those holes. I think they're cool, and you can do also a lot of cool things with the little vortex in the middle. I think that I would love some holes in my army in terms of like the functionality of them.
Yeah.
I do not like the throne. Model wise, I think it's not good. It's literally just stairs and a bone throne. The bone throne doesn't even attach to the stairs. You could literally put it anywhere you want. There's no knob. There's nothing. It's just two completely separate pieces.
I don't know what to tell you, Darren. I mean, you're playing a disgusting army with undead Bretonnia. You know, what do you want? Something pretty over there? Like, yeah. It's within the aesthetic.
It's a disappointing model, but functionally it's okay. Although people want it to be FAQ'd that mounted kings can also use it for free, it is pretty clear in the sheet that it is people with the summon men at arms ability, which is not on any of the mounted kings. So, sorry guys, the FAQ will probably vindicate me because there was quite some heated arguments about that on a WhatsApp chat I'm on. But anyway, so but what it does though is it tethers your kings to be next to there for a turn. So my game that I played on Monday, I found that my Archregent was stuck one movement phase behind the rest of my army because the first turn I had to spend next to the throne because the summoning's at the end of the movement phase.
Yeah.
As opposed to being in hero phase or whatever at the beginning. So that's kind of annoying. And so even if you could use your mounted kings to summon with it, you wouldn't want to tether your mounted kings for a whole turn at the back, I don't think. Anyway. Doesn't seem to be the way that the army wants to play, but okay.
You're playing 6 Archregents basically, aren't you? All Archregents.
Welcome, Puffin Stuff 360. Welcome. Okay, so I'm going to go over some highlights. I think the biggest thing in this book is the Grand Courts. So what the Grand Courts are is basically like the chambers and all that sort of stuff that every other book has. So you can have your whole army be a Grand Court. And you basically lose delusions. So delusions were like the army traits that you used to get before, which have been slightly changed as well, mostly to the bad side. So you lose the delusion, and you have to take your first relic as their given relic. You have given a command trait and a command ability and a general ability for the Grand Court. So it's a fair trade-off. The Grand Court that's so far sticking out in the most obvious way to everybody is a Grand Court called Gristlegore. And what Gristlegore does is it plays into the whole Monster Mash way of playing Flesheater courts. So zombie dragons and terrorgeists. Mounted zombie dragons and terrorgeists. Or unmounted, because Gristlegore allows you to take unmounted zombie terrorgeists and zombie dragons as battle line, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
But they're still behemoths. You can only run 4, right? But you can take battle line terrorgeists and zombie dragons. So people popping up lists with 4 of those things. Basically, Gristlegore allows any hero or monster to explode 6 on combat, which is cool. Especially when 6s are doing like d6 damage on these guys on the Maw attacks. And Terrorgeist now get traits. The mount itself gets a mount trait, and one of those traits is reroll hits on the Maw. So that's pretty sweet, and his Maw does 6 mortal wounds on a 6, so that's pretty sweet. Yes, on Monday I did 12 mortal wounds and then 14 more damage just with the Maw.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Really?
In one round of combat, yeah. And then I got to attack again with Feeding Frenzy.
What I've learned is that these dragons are very swingy, though.
Yeah, because then the next round I attacked 2 times and I could not kill a Gracier.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. You gotta. It's feast or famine with these guys.
And then I exploded for Deefy Mortals that I could have killed it, and I rolled a 1.
Oh my god. Fitting.
Yeah.
So you get for trying to pick on a poor Gracier.
Gristlegore's command ability allows a hero or monster to fight after it dies if it hasn't fought already. So if somebody's kind of getting low, you can kind of tempt the opponent to try and kill it, and then you get like a free fight. It'll fight at its lowest bracket, obviously. However, there is a spell now called Monstrous Vigor, which lets your monster act as if it's unwounded. So you could make one guy unwounded and then like tempt your enemy to kill him, and then you get a free combat phase basically for a CP. It's situational, but it's interesting. The command trait is Savage Strike. Your general, which you should probably make a Zombie Dragon or a Terrorgeist, gets to always fight first before you start picking who fights. So I think that pips out a lot of people who have the fight activate first kind of abilities, because this is before you start picking activations.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it does. It would. Like a Demon Prince of Slanesh or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Where they
before,
get to go out of sequence.
It says specifically before players pick units to fight, this general fights. And then they can't fight again, but yeah.
But they got to go out of sequence, which is really good.
Yeah. So, and the artifact is probably one of the worst artifacts in the game, so I won't even talk about it. Now, along with this, that's one of the big changes. The other one that people are looking at a lot is Blister Skin. Blister Skin gives your whole army +2 move, which is pretty sweet. It allows a unit that can fly to be teleported anywhere on the board. That's the command ability, basically. And in your hero phase on a 4-up, you get a CP. So that's not too bad. And I think that really goes to playing a different kind of army, not Monster Mash. Obviously, if you want to play Monster Mash, you have to choose Gristlegore. That's like the only choice. It's almost mandatory. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about that obviously you should know about is the new version of Feeding Frenzy. Snoop DeVille asks, what's the artifact? I'm not even going to talk about a Snoop. I'm not gonna make it any validation by talking about it. It's bad. Puffin Stuff 3060, for Gristlegore, do you think 3 Battle Line Behemoths is best or 3 GK on Behemoths? I think you run the Ghoul Kings. The Ghoul Kings add a lot of value to it. So yeah, I think that's what you do. Anyway, I don't think you should run them as Battle Line, but anyway, you still need stuff to like hold objectives. The artifact that shall not be mentioned. Yes, exactly. Okay, Feeding Frenzy. So Feeding Frenzy used to be if your unit killed something in combat, a whole unit, you roll a d6, and if you rolled a 6, then you get to go again, fight again. Which I can't remember any time that actually happened. It was like ridiculously rare, or that you actually remembered to roll your d6. Now it's a command ability that anybody can use, and after you have fought, you can immediately fight again. And you can only do that once. But each unit can do it. So you can spend multiple CP for multiple units to Feeding Frenzy. So now you have a Ghoul King on Terrorgeist or Zombie Dragon who gets to automatically go first, then gets to Feeding Frenzy and go again before anybody else does anything. And then you pick your first activation, which can be your other Ghoul King on Zombie Dragon or Ghoul. And then that person can Feeding Frenzy.
Does it work that way though, Darren? Like, can you use the command ability pre-selecting?
No, you do it after.
I mean, so then you would have to like go first, and then you can go first because you charge, let's say, and then you can do it again after that. Is that how it works?
So Feeding
you're
Frenzy,
saying basically you can go 3 times.
Yeah. So after you attack for the first time, Feeding Frenzy lets you immediately attack again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it says. Okay.
Yeah, and you can only do that once, but you can do it on different guys.
Filth.
So that's pretty gross. I think because of Feeding Frenzy and some of these other command abilities, you cannot make a Flesh Eater Court's army now that has more than 1,900 points. You have to have CP.
The command points, yeah.
Otherwise, you would just lose half your effectiveness. So you should just go ahead and start making 1,900 point armies because you need that 2 CP. It's almost mandatory. Obviously, I'm very opinionated, and that's my opinion. But yeah. So Feeding Frenzy, definitely a thing. Now, the new Arch Regent is pretty sweet. The Arch Regent is a 200 points, but I think is worth it. He is a better version of the old Ghoul King on foot. He is a 2 spellcaster and denier, which is awesome. That's probably worth close to 200 points just by itself.
It is worth a lot.
And then he has, instead of just giving 1 attack to a unit, his spell gives D3 attacks. And that is all of that unit's melee weapons. So therefore, your King on Geist or Zombie Dragon, all of them get an extra up to 3 attacks. So if your Maw attacks now 6 attacks, rerolling hits, 6s do 6 mortal wounds, 6s explode. That guy gets to go first and go twice. Like, it can get pretty gross. It was pretty gross on Monday. I killed 40 rats in 1 round. And then, funnily enough, there's no rats to push the bell.
You bastard.
Hey, maybe you know this, this came up. So if the bell cannot move because there's no rats around it, can it charge?
No.
So we couldn't find that.
Yeah, charge is a type of move.
Okay.
Like, move is covered generically as anything that moves, basically. But normal move, when you're in the movement phase, it's called a normal move. So that rule about moving for the bell or the furnace doesn't apply to only normal moves. It applies to move.
Okay. Well, we decided
that it was
our
type of move, charges.
Yeah, we decided it was stupid to be able to charge if you can't actually move. So, yeah.
No, you can't. Yeah, I mean, you can be pulled in. Like, say you pile in to the bell within 3, then they can fight, but they can't move that model. Yeah,
for sure.
At all. You're stuck. Yeah.
So the other thing, the Archregent heals 3 wounds automatically, not 1. So you can't kind of slowly take him down with little wounds here and there because he'll just heal up. He'll heal up small arms fire basically. And his summon ability allows him to summon 3 knights, a courtier, or 20 ghouls. So everybody knows that 10 ghouls sucks. Like, literally, 10 ghouls killed 1 rat in combat on Monday. But 20 ghouls is different because 20 ghouls gets an extra attack, and 20 ghouls is that much harder to kill, easier to hold objectives. So summoning 20 ghouls is pretty sweet. And, of course, his summon is free if he's within an inch of the Charnel Throne. So I think the Archregent also is an auto-take in every single FEC list. Has to have at least 1 Archregent. There's compelling reasons to take 2 Archregents, but definitely at least 1.
Wait, did I hear you right there? Did you say there's competitive reasons to take 5 Archregents? Is that what you said?
I have seen lists. I have seen those lists. Yeah,
5 is the number, right? 5 is the right number.
Yeah. So there is a the Royal Court, Royal Menagerie? No, which one is it?
I don't know.
One of the battalions where you have to take 1 mounted king, royal family, 1 mounted king, and then 2 to 6 other ghoul kings. So there you go. And it's pretty cool. So these are kind of the big highlights. So now what you're getting is an army that, on average, depending on how many kings you have, can summon anywhere from 500 to 1,000 extra points in the first turn that come in 6 inches from any board edge. That makes certain missions very winnable in turn 1. Missions that shall not be named. And so you just got to watch out for that. Things like Varghouls and Courtiers didn't change. The Varghulf was still really good, and now it can be summoned for free. I don't think you should be, unless you're running a Ghoul Patrol where you have to take a Ghast, I don't think anybody should be paying for Courtiers.
No.
Because you can summon them for free, and they appear wherever you want on the edge. So even your own edge, so it's no different from just buying one and deploying. So therefore, I don't think you should be paying for any Courtiers, and your Zombie Dragon can only summon Courtiers, and you should always have a Zombie Dragon. I'm coming to that. So therefore, you should never pay for Courtiers.
What do you think is a drop count, though, that like a Flesheater Quarter army kind of comes in around it?
Yeah.
Like,
so
it sounds like to me like you're going to get them coming in around like 10 drops or something.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. We're each going to give you a list of our books that we've been playing. So I'll give you the list that I was playing, and then we'll talk about drops when it comes to that. Because I think you're right. It is important to drop quickly, especially this army where you want to be able to give yourself the possible double turn. Because I think if you can hit everybody with all this and you double turn, it's basically game over. So, Zombie Dragon. So as I said, he has a reroll wound spell. Ghouls reroll 1s to hit next to a king. There's not a lot of other rerolls in the army. And so to be able to reroll all wounds in a 16-inch aura around a massive base is really good. And it's a 6 cast spell, so it's not too bad to get off. There's a lot of anti-magic out there, though, now. But so I think that's compelling reason to almost always take a Ghoul King on Zombie Dragon over a Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, if you had to pick one or the other. I'd take one of each, basically.
Yeah.
But that's pretty good. That's an amazing spell. Because a lot of our stuff wounds on 3s. Nothing wounds any better than that. There's a lot of no rend in our army. And so to be able to reroll wounds and just put that weight in there is definitely important. And then the final really cool thing I want to talk about is the Chalice.
Oh, the endless spell.
Yeah, so this is one of the endless spells, that little bone cup filled with blood. It's probably the only one really worth taking. I'd love to take the one with the horses, but it's just not that good. It's a pretty sweet model. So the Chalice is an endless spell. It casts on a 6, so it's pretty easy to get off. You can put it up anywhere 24 inches from the caster, so that's a pretty big radius of placing it. It's just a small little base, and basically it just sits there, and it's not predatory, so it doesn't, so your opponent doesn't get to move it or anything. And every turn you count the number of models that die within 12 inches of it, yours and your opponent's models. And then at the end of the turn, for every one of those models that died, on a 4-up you heal a wound to a Flesheater Court model.
Okay, that's pretty good. On a 4-up for every model.
For every model that died, on a 4-up you get to heal a wound, or return a 1-wound model to a unit, so heal ghouls, basically, because that's the only 1-wound models we have. So a well-placed Chalice, and if you're killing some chaff, like clan rats or whatever, for example, and if you remember to cast it, like I didn't remember for 4 turns, then you could be healing like 20, 30 wounds. You could heal your Terrorgeist from 1 wound back to full. You can bring back 30 ghouls. I mean, it's pretty good for 40 points. It's auto take. Okay. I think that's auto take if you're running anything, basically. If you're running this Flesheater Courts, you got to take a Chalice. So now you're down to 1860 to work with for your army, because you have to take 100 points for CP, and you have to take the Chalice for 40 points. So really now you're really running out of space to build shit. Yeah.
It's a good problem though, because you don't want there to. I mean, if you play the army, yes, you want and feel like you could take everything. But from a game perspective, you don't want people to be able to take all the shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So because then it doesn't build any sort of incentive to get a variety of looks out of a book. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you can take everything, then you just take everything, and then you do it all. But some people will want to go heavy monster mash Flesheater Court versus something else, right? So something heavy or something like that, right? So
yeah, no,
it's good. I like that.
I agree. Yeah,
it's a good design philosophy from my perspective. I'm facing that with Skaven a lot.
Yeah. So I just want to talk about a couple of the spells. So the interesting thing about the spells is they have half of them have a mechanic, whereas if you roll 10 or more, you can cast it on 3 targets instead of 1. Which is pretty sweet. Now there's no inherent bonuses in any of the casters. There's a couple of artifacts that give you a +1, so one of the techs I've worked into my list since Monday is a corpse cart for whatever 80 points, and that gives every Death Wizard within 18 inches +1 to cast. So that's pretty sweet, because now, funnily enough, we've become a magic dependent army for effectiveness. Really noticed that on Monday when all my spells were either failing or getting denied, and you lose a lot of effectiveness without those spells. So we've gone from no casting to relying on magic. So you've got to watch out for those magic heavy matchups. Nagash, Gitz freaking magic heavy. Arcan.
They're so good.
Yeah,
they're so good.
Yeah. So those guys can make you so much less effective, but just denying everything.
Yeah.
So Spectral Host is a spell that gives a unit fly. It's awesome. And if a unit can fly already, it can now run and charge. Sweet. And you can if you cast it well, you can cast it on 3 units. So I use that on zombie dragons to run and charge. They're running like 20 inches and charging. Like, it's pretty sweet. As I mentioned before, Monstrous Vigor, casting value of only 5, makes a monster act as if it's unwounded. Sweet spell.
Damn.
It's kind of like the 1 CP stratagem in 40k that makes a knight act like it's full power. Like, no.
I don't get that reference, but it sounds good.
It makes that being left with 1 wound thing like so much more painful. Yeah. Deranged transformation is an interesting spell. So it turns it adds the unit's wound characteristic to their movement. And the wound characteristic has to be less than 6. So the horrors and flayers basically is what you're casting this on. So they get to get +4 to their movement. So now you have flayers moving 16 inches and horrors moving 11 inches. If you're running them blister skin, now that's +2 movement. If you got cogs, that's another +2 movement. If they're flayers, they can run and charge now. So that army can move super fast. A blister skin, horrors, and flayers army. I think that's the only way you can run that list.
Wow. I haven't heard of this combo. I must talk to Rahul.
Yeah. So let's say you want to run 12 horrors. That's like a lot of points. But that unit, you cast this on it. Now they're moving 11 inches, +2 from cogs, 13 inches, +2 from blister skin, 15-inch move. Plus now they can fly. Like, those dudes are hitting you.
Well, the flayers can fly, can't they? Or no?
Flayers can fly, so now they can run and charge. Yeah. Hardcore.
It's amazing. All right. You got me convinced, Darren. Let's drop some money on some Flesheater cores. Let's do this.
And then the final thing they added, of course, is mount traits. So your mount gets a trait now for free. One of the Terrorgeist or Zombie Dragons. And if for every battalion, you get another one. For Terrorgeist, probably the best one is the Gruesome Bite, which lets you reroll hits for the Maw, because that's the one that does 6 mortal wounds on a 6. And then for the Zombie Dragon, probably Razor Clawed, which increases all the Rend by 1. Or the Necrotic Fangs, which lets you reroll that d6 on the jaw attack, which can be pretty sweet. Okay, so do you want to talk about lists at the end, Hui, or,
sure.
or should we do it now while it's fresh?
Why don't we talk lists at the end?
Okay.
So I guess we'll move on to Skaven then.
Yeah, if people got Flesheater questions, pop them in the chat. But otherwise, we'll move on to Rats. Yes.
It's coming a little bit coming out of nowhere. I mean, Karen Empire was only really just very recently announced, and they got books out before Wrath and Rapture, which is like, what?
Yeah, because normally there's a lead time between the box and the books, but this was like nothing.
Yeah. And it's coming out before the one that was already released, which is weird, right? Because you would think Khorne and Slanesh would have been next up, right? But anyways, I mean, happy surprise for me and you. So Skaven have changed pretty significantly in almost every way. So I'll just talk kind of broad strokes there. So, now everything is kind of consolidated into Skaven Tide, right? And so all of the clans, the Master Clan, the Eshin, Pestilence, which is the best, Verminous, all of the clans that were there, they're now consolidated underneath one book. And from a structure perspective, you can take everything inside of a Skaven Tide army. They'll call it Skaven Tide army. And so that's the big change. Now, you can take things like Pestilence, let's say, as an army, like similar to, say, Beasts of Chaos or Legions of the Gash, where you are then restricted. The main restriction that you have, and it's a pretty significant one, is that unless you take a Master Clan general, everything in that clan has to be the same clan. So you can't take, let's say I ran Skaven Pestilence, right? So that's like 5 or 6 scrolls, like Censer Bearers, Monks, Furnace, Plague Priest, Warp Claw, Plague Claws, right? If I run pure Pestilence, I have to run only those scrolls or Master Clan scrolls, which are like a Greyseer and Bell, Thankful, and like a Warp Seer.
Yeah.
So like there's, and those Master Clan guys have to be the general, so for me to take it. Otherwise, I break the battle. I break it, and Plague Monks or Plague Censer Bearers, no Plague Monks, stop becoming battle line. Right. So the only battle line you have, the pure battle line, if you call it within Skaven Tide, are
Clan rats.
Clan rats and what's his faces, the expensive dudes.
Storm
What am I
vermins.
thinking of? Yeah, storm vermin. They're very expensive. So, but so that's a big thing. So, or clan pestilence, you got to know that like that cuts off all other clans except for Master Clan, right? The only other wrinkle is that if you play clan pestilence, you can still ally. They're the only ones that can ally with anybody. Apparently, rats don't trust anybody else.
No.
Yeah, right? Right? Or maybe they don't trust rats. I think it's the other way around. But Nurgle can ally in, so I could bring in a green and clean one for a Skaven pestilence army. I'm not gonna, but I could, Darren.
You could.
It would be. I could. It'd be. I could bring in Rodriguez, man.
Yeah.
Pew, 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 pew. But I don't want to. It's fine. So from a big overall perspective, that's a kind of big change. They've kind of folded in the allegiance rules from the GHB that was extended to Pestilence and Skyr. So the GHB only had rules really. For allegiance rule for those two armies, those two clans. They didn't have anything for Eshin or for Verminus or anything like that. So what they did was they said, okay, you know how you get a +1 bravery for every 10 models? So now they make it now +2 for every 10 for Skaven. So you get a kind of a pack mentality there. So you'll get a +2 bravery. So you could be easily 8 bravery or right after jump, and then that would be making you like bravery 13, which is like pretty damn high. The other thing that's really cool is that you get a horde bonus for your to hit if you're above 20. So you get +1 to hit, and then you get +1 to wound if you're above 30. So my big blob of plague monks now go from a 4 up, 2 attacks rerolling hits, are now 3 up, 2 attacks rerolling hits. So they've buffed. They want to try to incentivize you to take a big mob of like rats really, right? Yeah. The other thing it's more fluffy is lead from the back, which is really cool. That's not a rule that was around. It's a lookout sir, but in close combat. So
I like that one.
I got a Gracier here, and there's like a clan rat, and there's like you got your Stormcast cool dude over there trying to kill him. It's like, all right, let me just throw this clan rat in the way, just to throw some dust in your eye, and then so. And the last thing is a scurry away, which is like, if I can choose my hero to fight, he can just run away. He doesn't. He's like, peace. I don't want none of this, which is really good from a tactical perspective. Like it's amazing. Super that's so good. I just say like, nope, I don't want none of that. Squeezing an extra move out of it is pretty amazing, realistically. So I think there's going to be a lot of shenanigans with that. So there's a lot of like, the problem really is, Darren. Like I think there's a million scrolls for Skaven. I don't want to go through them all. And I'm not. They've been the way that they were written, because a lot of them were written even pre-GHB. Like this is like the PDFs that came out, you know what I'm saying? Like in terms of like giant rats, let's say, for example, never got touched in terms of the rules since the big change from the end times to Age of Sigmar. Like those rules were the exact same rules, like for the last few years. So when they looked at them again, they're like, all right, this cannot continue. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, we're going to do it right. This bullshit's not going to happen again. And I was like, damn, I wanted this bullshit to continue. But I would say that overall, I'd say that GW has written a very tight set of rules here when it comes to Skaven Tide. I've been trying to break this thing. It's been tough. Maybe I got a little bit of tech in there, but they've written a pretty tight thing. I don't expect a lot of FAQ. I mean, what do you feel about Flesheater courts? Like, do you think that there's like a lot of ambiguities that need to be cleaned up in terms of the rules writing, or
not really?
Like, what would you say?
No, like people were bringing up all these questions, and I'm like, dude, it's pretty obvious just from reading the thing, And to go back to your point about, so they literally combined like 6 or 7 books into like one. Not maybe 6 or 7, but a lot of different Skaven factions into one, and they're doing that now. Like they're reconsolidating things that were exploded, and I feel like they're doing a good job. And actually, it's interesting. It'd be cool to hear your thoughts on this. But with the Skaven book particularly, they could have just had it like you got to run all Eshin or Pestilence or Scry or whatever, and then just have it in one book physically. But really, they've made it so that you can run almost like its own Grand Alliance Skaven, and you could run a Grand Alliance Skaven army, just taking the best parts from each book, and they still get their individual character. So I think that's really cool how they did that.
Yeah. So the only thing about it is that, like, you know, there's a big difference between Flesheater Hordes and Skaven in this regard, because Skaven, the range is massive. Like, in terms of the number of scrolls, like in one clan, we have more scrolls than all the Flesheater Hordes, I'd say. Probably, right? So like, that's one of the big benefits. Like, that's how you can do that very easily, because there's already an existing, like, base of models that you can just, you know what I'm saying? And there's already an identity for that stuff too. Like, people already know Clan Eshin. Like, that's a thing that's established. It doesn't need any more. Like, just saying, okay, now you can play Clan Eshin for real. You know what I'm saying? So, but I do like the design philosophy here, where it's like, okay, people just want to take pure Skaven, just like whatever technology, they can do that. But if you really want to get a little bit more like specific, you can cut off all this stuff and you can still go down this road. Like, if I want to still play Clan Pestilence, I can do that. I'm allowed to do that. It's just, I have to do it in a very specific route. But that's fine. That's my choice, right? But I like this better than it being literally impossible for me to take over kind of a Skaven Grand Alliance. You know, like, I like that idea that you could take a Skaven Grand Alliance, basically.
Yeah.
Because we're the best. I mean, Skaven's the best chaos god there is, right? So, you know.
Skaven Grand Alliance. I like that.
Yeah, but hey, you coined that, man. I'm gonna give you credit for that one.
Yeah,
but
Hashtag.
Yeah. So, so maybe I'll go over a couple scrolls that I think are just like highlight scrolls.
For sure.
You know, and just a couple of spells and things like that. So, I mean, one of the Big Daddy Cool himself, Thanquol. You know, he's a dude with a gray suit that's riding the Rat Ogre. I don't know if you know that model.
Oh yes, I know him because Phil hit me with like 20 mortal wounds one time with him, so I remember that guy.
Was that's old school though? You're saying
old school, yeah?
Or is that? Yeah. So the new school is even crazier, bro. Like, so, yeah. Okay, let me hit you up with this.
Don't tell Phil.
So he's huh?
Don't
tell Phil. All right, I won't. No one listens to the show anyways. It's fine. So I love the Flamer, but people love the close combat. You can basically outfit them any way you want out of the 4 weapons. So you can do all 4 Flamers, or you can do all 4 Braziers, basically close combat versions of him. I love the Flamer part because I just think it's absurd, right? So let me hit you up with this. The Flamer range is 8 inches, right? What you do is you pick one unit and you measure them. You count up the number of models within range. So let's say it's whatever let's say you have like 10 in range of 8 inches. He's on a big base too, right? Like on a, you know, Vermin Lord base, right? So it's going to be big, but let's just say 10. What you do is for every model, 6 on a 4-up, you take a mortar wound. Okay, that's great. So that's cool. But you actually take that and you times that by 4 because there's 4 Flamers. So your 10 dudes just got hit with 4 Flamers. That's actually 40 dice that you roll. So you roll 40 dice. Every 4 up is a mortal wound. Pasta la vista, buddy. That's like 20 mortal wounds. Like if you roll that out, right? So
I tell you what. On Monday night, Thanquol wasn't there, but those little Warpfire team dudes were there.
Oh, and they do the same thing. I like those guys. Oh, those guys are. Yeah, it's
dude.
Yeah, so picture.
So he overcharged it or whatever, and that's a 40K reference. He was within 24 ghouls. Yeah, he moved just right up to them.
Oh my god!
And then he did like 24 more, like he doubled it, but half. You know, he did 24 mortal wounds. I'm like, what?
And you know how many points that guy is? 70.
Yeah, and then
like on nothing, and then he
only dies on a 3-up. So he had 2 of them. One of them lived. And I'm like, I gotta kill that guy because he's gonna toast me next turn.
The fact that you have to devote effort to kill a 70-point model is already a win.
Dude, he already dies 60% of the time. The other time, he's still alive.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah. So now imagine you put that on Thanquol, who's this monster who like it's hard to kill, and has 4 of these
and
basically.
4 of them. Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And he can go through the warp now hole, right? So he can pop out, right? So. The other cool thing about Thanquol, I'll just go over it, is his command ability. Basically, he pops a command ability, and he lets you use the rulebook command abilities one of them for free. So like one other hero can use run 6 inches, the other one can use reroll charges, another one can use inspiring presence for free.
Oh,
Right?
it's pretty sweet.
So it's kind of getting you're paying one to use 3 command abilities, which is like a 3-for-1 type of situation, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
he's really cool. So Thankful is really cool. The Bombardier. So the Bombardier is the new model in Karen Empire. He's a dude with the little missile.
yeah.
He's an engineer for Clan Scryer, and his little shot is cool. 18 inches, 4 up, 4 up. I think it does D6 damage or something like that. It's good, but the fact that he's an engineer is amazing because number one, he's only 100 points, which a regular engineer is also 100 points. He casts one just like a regular engineer. So I don't really know why you would ever take a regular engineer. But the reason why you want this guy or any engineer, check this, Darren. You blending cannon, right? You roll 1 dice for power level. So you say, okay, D6. All right, I rolled a 3, let's say, right? Normal warp lightning cannon is every 3 or higher, or whatever equal to the power dice or higher, right? So 24-inch range auto hits does the damage like that. It's pretty good, right? But when you have an engineer next to it, you can overpower that warp lightning cannon. What that does is basically it says, all right, don't roll 6 dice, roll 12 dice.
Yeah, gross.
It's like 12 dice, man. And it's like if you roll a 1 or a 2, whatever you were pointing at is just going to eat like 10 mortal wounds or something like that at 24-inch range. There's no lookout, sir. There's no, whatever. Like, what does ethereal amulets do? Nothing. Like, they're mortal wounds, right?
I also got hit with this on Monday.
12
dice. This Francois rolled like a 1 or something on the power level.
Oh my god!
So that's like auto, basically, right?
Oh my god!
No, he rolled a 2.
Yeah.
And so
the big downside is if he rolls any 1s, yeah.
Yeah. So then he did whatever 10 or 11 to my Terrorgeist. I saved a few with my death save, but that was like killer. And then he only did like 2 wounds to himself, so he could do it again next time. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like every one that he rolls on those 12 dice is D3 mortal wounds, but like, okay, you might want to roll like 2, and like they're D3, so maybe you do like 3 or 4 damage max. You got some wounds, so you can probably juice a couple extra turns out of that, right? And that's doubling. It's doubling the usage rate, right? Like it's 12 instead of 6, so it's literally doubling.
They were already gross, and now they're even grosser.
Yeah, and that's why you take the engineer. So the engineer gives him that ability, right? And the engineer himself is not bad. He's good caster. Got his own little gun. He has lots of good reasons, right? So we should talk about the warp gnaw hole just before I talk about it. The terrain feature. You get 3 of these dudes. They're the size of Makrusha base. There's a restriction in terms of placement. You can only place it, I think, wholly within 8 of the board edges. Yeah. So, and basically units that are within 6. So a unit has to be within 6 to use it, to teleport to another warp gnaw hole.
And a
hero needs to be next to it too, right? So somebody has to kind of like lead the way. Like, okay, all you rats get in there. So it's not that easy to kind of get around. And the problem I have with it is that I think it's easy to zone, because you still have to have the 9-inch distance, and like, so you throw like whatever, it's a couple ghouls on there, and it's like, well, this hole is garbage now. So it's a bit of a limitation, but it is still useful just in and of itself, because to Skaven tied units, it counts as arcane, which gives you +1 to your casting.
Yep.
And it also gives you +1 to your prayers, which is pretty clutch for Skaven Pestilence.
Yeah.
And for enemies, it counts as deadly. So once you walk within it, then you might take mortal wounds, maybe, right? So
rarely.
It rarely, but like it could happen, but yeah, it's a little bit of a disincentive. Anyways, they're fine. I mean, they're free. It's a bit of a bummer to me that I can't just put them anywhere on the table. I'd love that, but
yeah,
I'll take it.
So on Monday, Francois put one right next to one of my back objectives, and I had a brain fart and didn't just put a couple of ghouls next to it.
Oh my god!
To basically shut it down, and so 20 rats just appeared in my backfield, basically.
Yeah.
And then the other one he actually used near the end of the game to shoot his engineer over onto my objective, because he placed it within 6 of my objective on the back, and that got him a few points so I could go back and kill that guy. No, not Engineer, Claw Lord, who is also gross.
Yeah.
So they can be super useful. But you have to place them well.
You do, and it's kind of been a bit debated. I mean, like people are still trying to grapple with it, but
Well,
do you put two on your side and one on your side?
One has to go in your zone because
Yeah.
you need it to send people somewhere, and it gives
Yeah.
your casters a +1, so it's sweet.
Yeah.
And then it's where you put the other two is the question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like some people say, just put all three in your zone. Screw it, like just like use it to power up your stuff, or you just do two on your side, one on their side, or like it's the proportion of that. You kind of have to figure that out. I think, right? That's still going to be a bit of a feeling out process for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. So I do want to talk about one other guy, if I got some time with.
Oh yeah, you got time, man.
I got time. Thank you. So the redheaded stepchild of Skaven before used to be this Hellpit abomination. He's back. The Hellpit is back, baby. I think he's a super scary model because so like you can read the War Scroll, but the big knock on him is basically his random movement. But if you can get past that, his profile is just bananas because he's doing things with Ren 2, damage 2, and Ren 1, damage 3, right? That's already pretty good, right? But the big thing that's killer is this Avalanche of Flesh rule, where basically in close combat, he piles in every model within 3 inches of him, you roll a dice for, and then if you beat the value on the table, it does a mortal wound. So at top wounds, which is 2. So he's only taken 0 to 2 wounds.
Yep.
That value is a 2 up.
Yep.
Darn, it's absurd.
Yep.
It's 3 inches once he's piled in, that could be a lot of models. How many witch elves can die to that? It's just and then the other thing, I mean, he's always been able to kind of get back up, but I think that Avalanche of Flesh ability is just going to destroy the blobs of witch elves or something like that, or the blob of anything really, blob of rats, blob of would you send ghouls against that? I don't even think you would. No. So I like the Hellpit abomination. I think he's super fun, but unfortunately I haven't fit him in any of my lists. But
and he gets back up on a 5 if he dies with D6.
He does get back up, and then he can start healing wounds and stuff like that. Yeah. There's a lot of tech. There's so much tech in this book.
It's a massive book.
It's just completely massive. It's going to take a long time to digest it. I think most armies are going to mix. To be honest, I would say if you're a competitive build, will most likely mix clans. So you're going to see the minimum battle line of clan rats. To me, clan rats are still bread and butter type of units, right? 200 points for 40 models. My God, that is such a discount.
Huge.
Huge. 120 for 20 or 200 for 40. I'll take the 40. You know what I'm saying? I'm only paying 80 points for an extra 20 models, and it's absurd, right? So, and their mobility is just fantastic because they can retreat and charge and
yeah, and you can shoot them through the hole.
That's right. You shoot them through the hole. Yeah, exactly. So I think clan rats are really good. And just in terms of just a couple other things I want to touch on. Of course, the best unit in the game, my favorite unit, Plague Monks, only just got better, Darren. To be honest, they're absurd. They're so good. It's just everything they had before, just basically better. Doing double damage now. They can do double damage now, right? They get those buffs from being Skaven Tide, right? So +1/+1. They get on 6s to hit. They get Ren 1. 6s to wound to do double damage. They get +1 to charge because of the chimes. It doesn't even need to do anything. It just takes the stuff that it gets for free, the banner bearer, the icon, all that stuff. It's all free, and they're amazing, and they're only 240 points for 40 of them. They're so good, but the allure of playing mixed Skaven is so strong that I don't know if you take a Pestilence army. That's so much.
Are you having a existential crisis?
My feeling about it. No, it's okay. I mean, I'm going to be the last emperor of Clown Pestilence. You know what I'm saying, in the ITC, because they won't exist, right? So no one will be able to take that crown from me because I'm the last champion of Clan Pestilence. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Hui, there's a question for you from
everyone.
Sorry, you cut out there for a second.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
All right, there's a...
Can you hear me?
Yep, there's a question for you from Masver24. He says,
okay.
Would you, for mixed clan army, for competitive play, would you go 40-40-40 clan rats or spread more like 40-20-20?
I think 40-40-40. Like, the discount is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. You have a use for these 40, like this. Basically, you're talking about like the extra 20 dudes. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing that 20 extra dudes don't solve in Age of Sigmar, right? Like,
I mean, 600 points gets you 120 bodies. There's armies out there that can't actually kill 120 bodies. A lot of armies don't even have 120 wounds in total. Mine doesn't. My Flesheaters has like 100, so that's already an inherent advantage, especially objective play. Like, you just you just max that out. Start painting.
Yeah, I think that like the only reason you take less than the 40, to be honest, Aaron, is you're really just treating like you're just like, okay, listen, I don't care about clan rats. I take like something else. But that something else better be damn good, because clan rats as themselves are pretty good. A lot by the by. They just run and like they stand on things real good, and they like get away real good. You know what I'm saying? They have a lot of board presence, but that's sometimes how you win the game. You know what I'm saying? But I think that almost every list I starts with 60. 120 like easy. So I start down 600, no problem. Happily so, because who wants to stare down 120 clan rats? I know you don't.
No. Jeez, I'm already having to paint an extra 40 ghouls, and I'm not liking that. So, but you know, that's the way Sigmar is, man. You just if you build any army, you're gonna have to start with like 80 of something. You know, that's just the way it is. Yeah. So you just pick your poison.
Or you just have 5 things. I mean, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You get that. You get the range, man. That's the thing, is that like, you know, like speaking of the LV. Oh, I played against lists I never think I would have seen. Like, when you think of like this, like I played against the Ever-Chosen army with all Varangard, man. Like, what? Like, the only difference was that there was one War Shrine. I was like, whoa, who takes this army? Like, legit. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's also a kind of spectrum in terms of, right? So, but yeah, Age of Sigmar, you get a lot of different looks. Skaven alone get a lot of different looks out of it for sure. I've got 2 lists in there that like are very different, that play very differently, and you know.
Yeah.
But the tech and the tech army. So one thing I'll say about it, to bring it back a little bit, allegiance abilities. Every clan has an allegiance ability, and you're not locked out of it if you don't have that clan exclusively. Do you know what I mean? So if you play mixed Skaven and you have Master Clan, Clan Pestilence is a hero, a Scryer hero, you get all those abilities. You know what I'm saying? So you'll get the Warpstone Sparks, you'll get the prayers, you'll get the ability to get more command points just by having those heroes, right? So it's also very powerful in that way. But the thing is too, I think you got to choose a lane with this book. Like, you can't say, okay, I want to run Boulder and I want to run Pestilence and I want to run Scryer. It can happen. You're going to have to. I think it's going to be such a wholly unsatisfying army to try to field. You cannot field it all effectively, right? So
cool.
But yeah.
All right. Sorry, Hui's video is like doing weird stuff. It's getting big and small, and you're cutting out a lot. Hui, I don't know. You're having internet problems on your side, but
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Maybe you're about to turn back into a rat from a prince.
Oh my, no. Oh, thank you. I'll take the Prince comments. But we've never left the throne. Skaven has always been the king of chaos right here. So.
All right. Well, maybe what we'll do now is we'll go on and talk about kind of sample lists that we made, and and then we'll go from there. So I'll go first. Maybe we'll give your internet a break.
I'm sorry.
So the list I ran on Monday with slight modification is this. So it's a Gristlegore list. I quite fancy playing big dragons, monsters and stuff. So I'm going to go with that first. But I'll probably try other things. So it's a Gristlegore list. I have a Ghoul King on Terrorgeist. That was the first big model I ever painted, and so I have a certain place for it in my heart. So I'm gonna run a Terrorgeist mounted king, although there's a lot of arguments towards the Zombie Dragon. But don't worry, I have one of each. So Ghoul King on Terrorgeist and a Ghoul King on Zombie Dragon. The Ghoul King on Terrorgeist is my general. He has the crappy relic that shall not be named. Although I can switch around the relics. It doesn't really matter who has the relics. But I put the crappy relic on the guy who's at the front and might die. His Terrorgeist trait is the one that lets me reroll the Maw attack. He is running Monstrous Vigor. And basically... yeah, so he gets the Savage Strikes and all that. Then the Ghoul King on Zombie Dragon gets another spell, Blood Feast probably, which is kind of like Vile Transference, and except it does D6 on a 10 or more. And then he is there. And then I have an Archregent who is holding the other relic, which at this time is still the Brooch. Because I start the game with 4 CP and I'm using them, and so I think the Brooch's value in that situation. If you don't start the game with that many CP and you're not using that many, then it's a trap. In which case I would take the Dermal Robe to give +1 to cast, Dispel, and Unbind. Did you notice that, Hui? Now Dispel is a thing. +1 to cast, Dispel, and Unbind. So in terms of getting rid of endless spells. So anyway, Dermal Robe for sure if you're not going for the Brooch. But I have tech for the +1 now, so I stick with the Brooch because it got me back 3 or 4 CP on Monday, so it's pretty good. And he is rocking the Spectral Host, Hex Spectral Host spell, and of course he has Ferocious Hunger. Then I have a Ghast Courtier because I'm running Ghoul Patrol, so I need my 60-point Courtier. And I'm running 40, 10, 10 ghouls, 2 backline ghoul units basically, and a 40 ghoul which can start off the board and infiltrate or start on the board depending on my opponent. And running Ghoul Patrol. So we want to talk about this a little bit. So Ghoul Patrol is 180 points, so it's kind of expensive. And it lost its healing ability, so I can't heal ghouls now over 40. I can't heal them at all with Ghoul Patrol. However, for that 180 points, I don't have to take attacks because I'm taking ghouls anyway. I get a free relic, which is cool, which is the Brooch, which gets me more CP. I get a free CP. I get an extra mount trait to put on my Zombie Dragon, giving him Rend or reroll D6. And I lower my drops to 4, which is basically going first except against 1-drop armies like Sylvaneth or whatever. And so I think that's key because that allows me to sit back turn 1, bring everything in on the board edges turn 2, move, charge, run all this tech turn 1, and then hit the guy. And then if I double turn, I win. If I don't double turn, I still done a lot of damage. So I think getting the drops down is important. As painful as it is to pay 180 points for a battalion, I still think it's worth it. And then I'm running. So in my latest list, I dropped my ghouls unit to 30 to free up space for a corpse cart, which gives me a 18-inch bubble of +1 to cast for Death Wizards, which is sweet because I need that +1 to cast now. So especially with spells that are mostly 5 and 6 to cast, +1 is so clutch. So I'm running the corpse cart, and it happens to have dead shit on it, so it kind of fits with the theme of the army.
Yeah, I would have thought that it was Flesheaters anyways. But...
Yeah. And then I've got the Chalice, of course, and that's it. 1,900 points on the dot. As I said before, you got to play with extra CP. So I've got 4 CP to start with, 2 from the points, 1 from the battalion, and then 1 at the start of the game. So I'm feeding, frenzying, I'm summoning, I'm doing all my shit turn 1, getting hopefully a third of those back. And summoning probably 20 ghouls from the king, a courtier like a Vargolf, and then either more ghouls or some knights. And going from there. So, that's basically my list. I think it's a nice balance. I think total monster mash maybe not be the way forward, and I think all ghoul spam might do okay. I don't know. I don't want to paint that many ghouls, and I think horrors and flares are mostly trap to pay points for them. But I'm going to test that anyway. So that's my list I'm working on right now. And I beat Skaven on Monday by 2 points. Even after taking 40 mortal wounds from little warp fire guys and 11 mortals from the stupid cannons, I still pulled that game out of the bag. But man, that was painful. I'm like, what?
That's because he was not truly a great claw lord. You need the top claw lord piloting.
Oh man, and that claw lord, every time you hit him, he gets another attack. And the ghouls just couldn't kill him, and then they eventually got wiped out. So yeah. LLV, welcome.
Demo, otherwise known as Demo.
All right, so what you got cooking for Skaven these days?
Cooking. Let's start with my old flame, my Skaven pest army. So I decided that I'm going to see what I can do within just the clan pestilence. So I'm taking a conversion field. That is a similar battalion as I was taking before, which is a plague furnace and 2+ number of plague monks. Right. So in this list, I started with no less than let's see here, 110 plague monks, which is 5 units of 40 and 1 unit of 10. And just they're damn good. And I have basically 3 plague furnaces, and then that's the entire list. That's 1970 points right there with the 160 point battalion for the Congregation of Filth.
That was your old list.
No, that's my list now.
Oh,
that's
okay.
I'm okay, what can I do my clan pestilence with this new book? So I used to run 200 plague monks, and I thought, not enough plague monks. I need more. And so the thing that's really crazy, Darren, is that the plague furnace has gone it's gone from basically been attacks to a legitimate killer now. So that big ball of doom from before, it would just be every within 4 on a 4-up takes 1 mortal wound or whatever it is. It was junk. Right. Check this out, Darren. You pick a point within 3, and you pick a unit there. On a 2-up, it takes mortal wounds equal to the chart. On the top of the plague furnace, it's D3 plus 4 mortal wounds, man. That's on a 2-up. Take that, Archregent of Doom. It's that's enough to kill a character, no problem. I'm just saying, it's enough to kill characters, right? D3 plus 4 mortal wounds, pretty spicy meat the ball for a furnace, right? So I thought, okay, I have enough of those around. They are tough now. So one thing I have to mention is that the bell, the furnace, all the vermin lords, they all get now left shrug. So that's pretty amazing. And the prayers have all changed and some of that too. So you can see that in the app that that's provided for all great Age of Sigmar players.
Yeah, I noticed that on Monday. All these little dudes have feel no pains and 5-ups too. I'm like, what? It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. But for me, the one thing is okay, you move them up, you make sure that they're immune to battle shock. But the cool thing is, what do we have? What's different now about this book? Gnaw holes. You know what I'm saying? So, so you start funneling in through 40 plague monks, and then you have a front side attack of, maybe you have a threat of 40 coming in from. What I would do is probably do 1 gnaw hole on my side, holes on your side, and that way you have to stretch to keep both holes kind of like blocked up. But I can always like come at you with then like say 170 plague monks from the front, keep things stretched all the way to your back in order to keep another 40 coming from you from behind, right? So it's really I thought that this list is like just like if I were to build a pestilence list, I mean this is what I did, right? Like if I were gonna like play the pestilence list, a pure one, this is what I would probably build. It's just 3 furnaces and 210 plague monks and push. And so hey, you know, you and your 4 drops, this is a 3 drop list.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, cool. Well, I hope people enjoyed that run through of both these books. If people have questions, they can of course hit us up now or ask us on Facebook. You can check out Hui's. You have a Facebook page too, Hui, right? Week on Wargaming.
Yeah. Week on Wargaming. Yeah, that's where I'll post when new stuff is going up. So LVO stuff is going to be coming up. Do we have a little bit of time to go over the like? Do you have another list to go through at all, Darren, or you just have the one?
No, I just had the one. Yeah.
Okay, I have another one. Like so, like just in the meantime, we'll just get questions. That's okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So this is a mixed list now. So that was a pure pestilence list. This one is a mixed list. I decided to kind of go mostly leaning into Scryer, to be honest, because that shooting is very tasty. So I'll go with the heroes first. It's a Gracier and an Extreme Bell. It's 3 Bombardiers with the engineers that have the shooting attack. 3 units of 40 Clan Rats. 40 Plague Monks, because still spicy and scary.
Still.
Yeah, still good. Still good. Even unbuffed, doesn't matter. 3 Warp Lightning Cannons, because you love that. And a Bell of Doom and Cogs, and that comes in at 1980 points. So the Bell of Doom is really good because what it does is that you cast that thing, and all the units that are within 13 inches of it are immune to Battle Shock. So when you have like 120 Clan Rats in front of you, Battle Shock is like you're just like it's the thing that you're afraid of, right? It's taking a whole lot of Battle Shock. So Bell of Doom, 40 points. You throw it out there. It broadcasts inspiring presence. It's pretty. And of course, Cogs. I think like, you know, you want to move your stuff around. You want to get even faster. That's what you're gonna want, right? So Cogs useful for Plague Monks, useful for Clan Rats, useful for Skaven in general. You know, scurrying around. So
yeah, and 3 Warp Lightning Cannons are gonna toast anything.
Yes, including themselves. But hopefully they take out. Hopefully they take out your stuff first before my stuff all blows up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So that was another kind of shot at like a kind of a mixed Skaven list. Yeah. But of course I've been like scheming lists like this whole time. So like, you know, what type of molder list should I run? I don't know.
like I was thinking, so like 120 rats, 3 or 4 of those cannons, 5 or 6 of the little warp fire dudes, and Thankful, and then you just sit behind your rats. Yeah. Nobody's gonna kill all of that in one turn, and then you just toast the other army, and it's game over. Boom.
I think that Skaven have this incredible like counterpunch ability. Like you can come and Simon to me and blow up like my screen. Like blow them up, go for it. I don't care. But I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna flame the hell out of you, or I'm gonna hit you with like this Hell Pit Abomination, which will like crush you with mortal wounds. Or I'm gonna hit you with like Thankful or like 40 monks. You know what I'm saying? Like you need if you're gonna deal with Skaven, you're gonna need a way to thin out the counterattack somehow. And doing that behind 120 Clan Rats is very difficult.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's what makes this. I feel like this army is really powerful at. Like it could take a punch. Whatever got punched will die. That's fine. I mean, who cares? But like whatever comes back at you, it can definitely hurt quite a bit, right? So
yeah. It's painful.
Yeah,
still feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So, we are going to do our Skaven Battle Tome giveaway right now.
Oh, shit.
And
Okay,
so before we do that, we're going to warn everybody that, of course, we are just counting Twitch answers on the Twitch chat. So if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, thank you very much for doing that. But we don't follow those chats. So if you want to partake and have a chance to win this, you need to be on Twitch. So give people 30 seconds to switch over to Twitch, twitch.tv/CanHammer_TV. And basically, the Rat King himself will give us a skill testing question. It may or may not be based on Skaven, but my hunch is it might be. And the first person to type the correct answer will win this shrink wrap copy of the Chaos Battle Tome for Skaven. Puffin Stuff 360 says, with the new corn boat, maybe you'll get something to help against shooting. No. Not really.
What?
Okay.
Who? Okay. Yeah, go for it.
So, Hui.
Yeah.
Skill testing question, please.
Okay. So, one of the new heroes in Skaven is this model called the Master Molder, but he wasn't called a Master Molder before. What was his name in the old world?
Oh, I have no idea. So, Hui, you gotta message me on Facebook what the answer is.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no problem. You don't know this, Darren? I'm just so disappointed,
I don't know,
man.
Right, can you message me now so I can spot the winner?
Yes, I can.
I need the Jeopardy music when we do giveaways to put it on in the background when we're doing these giveaways. So first person to answer that question, the Master Molder was
Master
called,
Molder, yeah.
Master Molder was called something else in the old world. What was it? First person to type that.
Did you get the answer there, Darren?
Yes.
Maybe LLV will get it.
Massver24 says Pack Master, which I believe is incorrect.
Nope.
You are allowed to answer more than once.
Try again.
Johansky says
Giant
Thanquol, which is incorrect. Thanquol is Thanquol.
Thanquol? Still Thanquol.
Maybe I should borrow Phil Skaven and run some Thanquol burner action.
Telling you, man. Once you have that pyromania inside of you, you're just gonna become addicted.
Oh,
it's so good. Oh my god. I like Drycha already. I don't know if you know Drycha.
Yeah.
But Drycha has a very similar ability, and she only does that ×1, right? You can times it by 4. It's gross on an even bigger base.
And how many points is Thanquol?
Well, he's 400 points, so he's very expensive.
Okay, well, he's a big guy, so those are usually about 400 points.
Yeah. Oh, and he's pretty damn good. Thanquol, I think, you're going to see him in certain lists for sure. He's pretty good. You have to build around him, but I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, and then of course you can shoot in combat and everything too. So even if you make it in there, you're not surviving a turn of that.
No. Especially when you're in combat, say
everything's within 8.
Yeah, throw a unit 30 Grimghast into him. I don't care, Darren. Come at me. Yeah. All 30 of them are going to take 120 dice rolls on 4-ups, right? So they're gone. They're going to be gone.
It would just be
all 4 arms.
Your question's too hard, man. Question's too hard.
What? Oh my god! Is it too hard? Legit?
Well, nobody's got it yet. What I'm going to do is just check the other chats. Scary had a hard question too the other day. People had to Google it. People just Google it, man.
Just Google the thing, It's okay. It's okay. No shame in that.
Well, that might not be an easy one to Google either. No one knows. Okay, all right. Let's come up with an easier question. I don't need question. I don't need 2 copies of this codex. So yeah, it's not even easy to Google.
Is that right? Shit. Okay, I'll have to think about it. Okay. Can anyone name
Okay, new question.
new question. Okay. Name one of the scrolls, the old scrolls that are no longer in Skaven Tide. And I'll message Darren.
All right. So just type the name of a war scroll that is no longer in the new book that was in the old book. There you go. That shouldn't be too hard.
No.
Maybe. I don't know the answer.
You don't know the answer? Okay, I'm going to send you the answers.
Maybe we'll just have to ask like a Tim Horton style question, like 6 + 2 × 7.
Oh my god. Yeah, I can ask that question too if the people don't get it, but let's see if they can get this for now. What else is there?
Your knowledge of Skaven is just way deeper than anyone else.
I am the best Skaven. You know, so in the lore, so we were reading the lore about Skaven, right? And they said, yeah, basically every Skaven thinks that they're the best in the world. Mm-hmm. And then so Joe and Rahul are like, see, this is perfect for you. I was like, well, that's because I am the best, so it's fine. Like it makes sense. Like, and so they thought it was a very fitting thing that I play Skaven, and that this is the kind of the lore behind all Skaven like warlords.
All right,
so they think that they're the best.
Derbommel says Skaven slaves. I think that's incorrect.
No, the Skaven slaves is right. Yeah, that was one. Yeah, sorry, yeah. I didn't finish.
Oh, Skaven slaves is right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Okay, Derbommel, you've won.
Hey.
Copy of Chaos Battle Tome Skaven. Woohoo! Congratulations.
Woohoo!
I was afraid we'd have to go to like a third question, which is.
Oh, I got those. I got more Skaven stuff.
You got more Skaven questions.
All day, Darren. All day. No problem. Yeah, the Underhive is huge.
So, Derbommel, to collect your prize, you need to just like screenshot this or something and send it, message me on Facebook at CanHammer, or send us an email at canhammer.yt@gmail.com so I can find out your name and address, and I'll send it out to you post haste. And Snoop DeVille, yes, you missed the giveaway. What was the answer to question 1, Wee?
The answer to question 1 was Squeal Gnawtooth.
Squeal Gnawtooth. There you go.
That's right.
There you go. That's some deep knowledge there.
He was great.
All
He's
right.
good now too, but yeah.
Okay, well, next week, guys, we are looking at a couple of games. A 40k game against Necrons. Sunday night, we got a Orcs and Beta Custodes test again with Payton. We've got a episode next week of the podcast, yet to be determined subject matter. Yeah, so it's going to be a busy week next week as well. And so thank you very much for joining in. Hui, thank you very much for joining us again, our AOS master.
Thank you, Darren. Make sure you tune into my YouTube channel, Week on Wargaming. Make sure you check out my friends over at Conquest Gaming Group and Dream Tea. You know, they do awesome swag for 40K and Age of Sigmar people. And thank you, Darren, again for having me. And Chris for hopefully having baby number 3 anytime soon.
Yeah, Chris is eagerly awaiting his third baby. Could literally be born at any moment. So couldn't join us tonight, but he's with us in spirit. All right, thanks very much, everyone.
I'm going to say
watching.
That we would be a great name for a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, thank you.
not for white kid. People be like, what?
It'd be great.
Hugh? What? He? What?
That's true.
All right. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
All right.